Relaxing time out on the water. Yes, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time for the weekly Reel Reports with our expert on the water. Joining us as he does every Wednesday, Jordan Rodriguez with Tight Lines 208. Jordan, it's great to catch a fish that looks nice. And I understand that in our area, one of the nicest looking fish, the Westslope Cutthroat. What can you tell me about this? Why is it such a special fish?
Yeah, so this is what I wrote my article about this week. It's something I look forward to every summer, is going up into the mountains and catching these Westslope Cutthroat. So that's kind of the unique thing about them, is they're really only found at the high elevations. So these would be your alpine lakes, a few alpine streams and creeks and stuff will have them too, but they're only up there. And the way that most of them get up there is actually out of an airplane.
Oh.
They're stalked by airplanes. They fly over. The fish are just very little at that time, but they're in, water tanks. And as they come over the lake, they open the trap door and away they go, bombs away.
And we saw some of the photos there. I mean, they really are nice looking fish. Does that make them tougher to catch? Sometimes if something looks nice, it's harder to acquire.
Yeah, I would say their behavior is pretty typical for a trout. You catch them on flies, spinners, rapalas, jigs, kind of all the usual things. The thing that makes them unique is just that alpine setting, and oftentimes it will require a hike, sometimes a long hike or like a backpacking trip to get to these areas that hold the Westlopes in particular. The good news is that season for doing that, which we're in now, kind of getting toward the tail end, really like July, August, September. If you're adventurous, you can stretch it in either direction a little bit, but that's really the window for doing this. And the nice thing for anglers is, we've talked about this before with alpine lake fishing, is that's really like their peak feeding season as well. So oftentimes the hardest part to catch one is just to get there, right, to get to these remote areas and these lakes that have them. Once you're there, they usually are pretty willing to participate.
Any advice for folks that are watching and they'd say, wow, that does sound fun. Take a nice day hike, get up in the high country, get up to the alpine. In terms of carrying your gear, light loads, I would imagine?
Yeah, if you're just doing a day trip, like a there and back, yeah, it's like a small pack with some water, a couple snacks, and your fishing gear. I love to take a float tube, and I've written about that in some of the articles as well. Like, a float tube gives you such an advantage to be able to cover like the whole lake. So if you're willing to carry that little bit of extra weight, it's really worth the effort in my book. So yeah, totally doable on a day trip. And then obviously if you're doing like a multi-day backpacking trip, you'd have to go full pack with a tent and all of those things. But a lot of these places, anywhere from like 1 to 3 miles. So if you're a good hiker, grab a buddy and go up into the mountains. You can totally do it there and back in one day.
And those cutthroats are really nice. I used to work for a minor league hockey team, and they were the Cutthroats. And I thought that was the coolest mascot. So yeah, when we saw your segment for the day, it's like, that is a perfect fish to talk about. Well, Jordan, with Tight Lines 208, we appreciate your time as always.